Hi everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. I can't believe that we're already getting so close to the end of February, entering March. So today I wanted to do a quick update on my planning routine and how I am doing with my daily planning. So without further ado, let's start flipping. So I'm still in my magnet daily planner, and this is the size A5, and I'm in this black cover. So in the very beginning of the year, I did write down all of my yearly goals, and I don't go back to this frequently. My plan is to leave it as is until the end of March, and that's when I wanted to come back and just to make sure everything is still in line, because that marks the end of the first quarter. So moving into my monthly calendar, this is January. I'm using my monthly calendar as sort of like my go-to for my kids' schedule. So at the beginning of every month, I would quickly jot down, their classes in the first week. I don't want to write them repetitively every single week. So I just dot in the same color if that class is happening consistently throughout the month. And then I also mark down any special events, like here I have, Mirabel has a dance performance coming up. I just wanted to know that that weekend I will be very busy. And then over here, I write down the main extracurricular classes for both of my kids. And here I've written that I'm struggling a little bit with Mirabel's piano class, and I was kind of thinking to try some new teachers. And lucky enough, I did find her a new piano teacher sort of in the mid of January. So I do write down all of the struggles or things that I feel like is not going as smoothly, or some of the classes that my kids are sort of losing interest. I write all of these notes here and then sort of make a plan to, for example, find a new teacher, or just switching things around to make sure that, time-wise is all working smoothly and there's no conflict with my schedule. And then moving on to the monthly tracker. This is my January monthly tracker. I'm very proud of myself for completing everything. I mean, there are days that I was kind of left behind, but I still make sure that I backlog all of those days so that I have sort of a consistent view of how I'm doing with each of my action steps. And again, if you didn't know, this is a tip-in for breaking down your yearly goals that I had over here into smaller action steps so that I can track these little action steps on a daily basis. And at the bottom, I write down any of the key takeaways, things I wanted to modify. During the tracking, I may feel like, oh, this action doesn't really make sense, or something is blocking it. I make sure I change those action steps in the next month. And next we have the blank spread, where I put in a tip in. This is actually a quarterly goals tip in that I converted into my family trip planning. I thought this was really fun, and as you can see, I'm kind of stuck at the destination step, which I really need to come back to it. This is another benefit of flipping back to your planner. This is actually really important, because if I don't plan out my summer trip before April, it's just a mess. It's not gonna be good. And next, going into the first week of January. For those of you that are not familiar with the daily layout, so every week starts with one weekly page where you get 7 day boxes on this side, and then on the other side you get this empty column. And I always like to use this column for my weekly to-do or weekly highlights. And then you move on to your 7 day pages of the week. And then you go to the second week and repeat. So let's start with the first week. So this is actually pretty standard of how I plan. So I would always put down all of my events that's time sensitive or pre-scheduled in these day boxes. And then I put my weekly to-dos here. I can see that in my first week, I actually didn't have a lot on my weekly to-do list, which is absolutely wonderful, because this list just gets longer and longer, because there are always things that I'm sort of started but didn't get to finish, and I definitely don't want to miss it or forget about it. So this list just gets longer and longer. Now, moving on to my daily pages. I always try to do my morning page entry the first thing in the morning, and then I would write down sort of like the time-sensitive events I have for that day, so I know exactly how much time I have to allocate for other stuff. And then I would write down my today's to-do list, and I make sure to cross out every single one. And if there's one that I didn't finish, I would make sure to arrow it, meaning that I already have it jotted down for my next day. One thing I really like about the daily layout is that I get a lot of freedom. So for example, here I would just do a sectioning, and I have my morning page entry on the right hand side of the page, and then I'll leave the left-hand side with the timeline so I can do my today's to-do and sort of jot down my time-sensitive events. And this way, it doesn't have to always look exactly the same as the previous day, and I think that's really fun. Like here, I did my morning pages, and I was just feeling like drawing a little graphic because I did really well for my plank the other day, and just whatever that makes me feel happy. And like on this day, it was a New Year cleaning day. I didn't have time to plan because I was cleaning. So I just kind of did this little doodle of what happened on that day. I left everywhere else blank. And then here, just random notes, a little bit more home cleaning, and I had a family day, just so much holiday going on in January. And then this is moving on to the next week of January. Again, I did my normal routine, and here, as you can see, the list is already getting longer, and I was tracking the book I was reading. And then I have some blank pages here because I just didn't have time to plan, and I don't normally do back planning unless I run out of space. So here, it was another very busy week in January. I think I was really focused on design for that week, so I didn't really bother planning because I know I had to finish that before I move on to anything else. So that's just, ooh, that's a little messy. Yes, more blank pages for January. I remember what I was doing. I had a 2-week design period that I didn't want to shift to anything else. And then moving on to this last week of January. So I had to catch up on a lot of things that I was kind of left behind because I was really focused on that design project. Lots of planning catch up going on. Yes, I was still focused on that design project, finishing it off. And I can see I'm getting back on track. And here I have a very messy, kind of like a brain dump that I did. I do this a lot when I'm doing research or when I'm just like not sure what to do next. I like to brain dump and clarify through the process. I think that's something that really helps me a lot. And then moving on to February, I have again my kids' calendar. So now she's already moving on to that new piano teacher that I really, really love. And she's doing much better with this teacher, just less pressure, easier pieces, you know. Yeah, it just works so much better. And I also use this calendar to track any cancellations that she has for the extracurricular classes so I can keep track of my payment. So that's again my kids stuff. And then, oh, by the way, I like to use these little tabs that I have because during this entire month, I would constantly flip back to the monthly tracker and my kids' schedule to just reference. So it's really, really nice to have these tab stickers over here. Now, this is my February monthly tracker, and I'm almost done. And one thing I really like about this month is that I wrote down so many notes for changes to be made in March. For example, I was really proud of my healthy snack that I prepped for myself so I don't have to overeat my dinner. And then here I noted that my water intake has drastically improved for this month. And it's mainly because I started using the Stanley cup in office because I realized when I was drinking water from my cup, I like my water warm. So when it gets cold, I kind of just like have to reheat and repeat that whole process so I don't reach out for it. But when I use the Stanley cup, it's consistent. The temperature is so consistent. I love it. And so I've been keeping up with my water intake so well this month. So I just note down things that are working, that are not working, and what I wanted to change for March. And if you notice, I didn't actually have a tip in for February because I checked all of my action steps for the January one when I was doing my February monthly tracker. Let's see where it is. So what I do is I kind of flip it open like that and just make sure everything is still aligned and there's not much changes I wanted to make. So instead of rewriting everything, I just reference this and copy the action steps to my February monthly tracker. Now moving on to the blank spread in between the monthly tracker and the first week of February, I'm using it to track my reading. I'm actually listening to these books instead of reading because I have a 40-minute commute every day to work. And ever since I started listening to books during my commute, it's become the most enjoyable 40 minutes of the day. Okay, moving on to the first week of February, what I do. Oh my gosh, see, this to-do list is getting longer and longer, and I can see that I didn't finish a lot of them, which was moved to the next week again. That's okay, that's why I have a planner. And again, my normal routine morning page. Yes, and sometimes I like to use the functional stickers to highlight on the timeline so I get a better sense of where everything is and how much time I have for that day. So again, I think I was doing a research over here and I was just trying different methods. This is a wheel of life that I use to analyze my mental and physical health. This was really fun, and you score yourself. So I know the areas I need to improve. And moving on to the next week of February, again, my to-do list seems to have gotten shorter, which is very good. And I check off all of the tasks. If I didn't finish, I move it to next week. And in my days, I like to draw diagrams to get my brain clear. Here are more notes, more planning. And then we're getting close to Valentine's Day, so I was trying to use a lot of red, very celebrative. Another very busy week for me. I can see that I was doing back planning on this page because I didn't fill up the remaining, and my handwriting is getting messier because it was just maybe stressful. I don't remember what happened. Oh yes, here I was doing another research on healthy competition because my daughter is starting to do dance competition. She's 8, and I wanted to study or chat with ChatGPT before I start talking to her about it because she's been constantly asking me questions on what happens if she didn't get the first place. Is the teacher going to be disappointed? Blah, blah. I mean, it's a really serious and big topic. I wanted to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. So here is like the do's and the don'ts that I was noting down, and the focus should always be what she did great and how she improved, and never which place she won. So by now I know exactly what to say. I think it's a really nice practice, and I wrote everything down just to emphasize and give myself an extra time to memorize everything. Oh, this is my period day. I was completely wiped out that day. I have here that I actually feel like I might have some kind of iron deficiency, so I am actually doing some blood tests right now. So hopefully I get some good supplement from my doctor. So here I'm using some emoji stickers, and I thought it was super cute. And a little bit more on my book reflection. Yes, this is just a notes from meeting. So yeah, that marks the end of my February, and I'm super excited to set up for March. And as you can see, I plan pretty freestyled. You know, I don't want to stress myself when I don't have time to plan. I just skip those pages, and I think it's totally fine. You know, the planner is mine. However it works best for me is the best method. So that is my planner update. And if anything, I really want to see how you guys are doing with your planning, and leave any questions, thoughts, or any recommendations for me in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this. See you next time.